Yes, clearly.
Yes,
Clearly.
audible.
All right. So I'll be talking a little bit the history of phonetics, how it in, came into existence in English dictionary. We have to go back to the pre-independence era. Maybe I'm going to share one slide over here so that you can get the idea. After seeing that uh, screen, Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is the first man. He's considered the father of phonetics, or I would say he is the first phonetician in the world who introduced phonetics. He is the man who wrote phonetics first. Okay, he's a British phonetician. He introduced phonetics in English. I am going to share my screen. Okay, Daniel Jones. You can see your screen clearly. I think so. Daniel Jones. Here we have the picture on our screen. We can see him clearly. The phoneme theory. Okay. His name is Daniel Jones. He was born in 1881, died in 1967. A London-born British phonetician considered by many to be the greatest phonetician of the early 20th century. He was head of the Department of Phonetics at University College, London. He is the man who gave us the idea to this word about phonetics. Before that, perhaps there was a dictionary, but we didn't have any idea about phonetics before. He was the man who started collecting, who started studying different people's style, speaking style. He did a research on the speaking of English. Okay, all right. Amika has joined now. So, Daniel Jones. So, he's the man who started phonetics. This little bit idea about phonetics. Today, I'll be talking about phonetics, pronunciation, accent. Uh, Sometimes I'll be asking you a question just to give your view. What do you think about the different words like phonetics? When you think about phonetics, you said it's a theory, it's a topic, a subject. It's not a subject, but it's a topic of English language, which is not taught in school or colleges generally. I have never seen, but it's a very integral part of English language or English communication. We have this much of idea. We may not have broad idea about it, but we can say generally that it's a part of English communication. It's a part of English language, phonetics. But we don't know much about it. We have heard the word term somewhere else, maybe from our teachers or friends, or maybe from different source, any other source. Secondly, the second word, pronunciation. Pronunciation, we know it very well. It's not a difficult term. It's a very simple and very common word to us. We know it that pronunciation is all about how to speak or how to pronounce a word, how to utter a word with its correct sound. That's what we call pronunciation. Let me tell you, every word that we know, that we don't know, in any language, in every language in the world, every word, every word that we know, that we don't know, has two things in common everywhere in the world. First thing is that every word has a meaning. Every word has a sense. Let's see your own mother tongue. When you speak different words, when you talk generally in your day-to-day life conversation, it has a word, it has a sense, or it has a meaning. Suppose when you're making a dialogue to a people, to a person, you want to convey a message. You want to give some idea when you speak or use some words. Okay? So unnecessarily you cannot use words. You have to use particular words for a particular situation or conversation, so that you remember very well, that you know well. So, and at the same time, every word has a meaning, and secondly, every word has a sound. As I told you, phonetics. Phonetics is the scientific study of sounds in English language, because English language is very different from others. And the phonetics is very much unique part of English language. Every word, as I said, every word, just before a few minutes, every word has a meaning. At the same time, every word has a sound. It means every word has a specific or particular pronunciation. Like, for example, if I associate a cat, then CAT cat, but COT caught. CAT can be pronounced or can be read as cat, but when I put another vowel O in between C and T, then it sounds caught. I cannot say cat if I write COT caught. I have to say caught. That we know very well. Even a teacher in a primary school teaches in a very low classes teaches his or her students this sound, how to make the exact sound, how to pronounce well, correctly, according to the exact pronunciation of the word. But remember, one key thing I'd like to say, spelling doesn't determine any pronunciation in English. It does, but not always. Remember, because in this language, English, we don't have any sign. We have some punctuation marks, but in other language, when we see Hindi or Odia, when you look at other languages, they have different signs. We can call in Odia. Let's talk about our own language, Mother Tongue Odia. We have matra. According to matra, we pronounce different swara and dhwani, but it doesn't happen in English. It has only letters. There are 26 letters altogether in this alphabet or in English, and 5 specific letters which are called known as vowels, A, E, I, O, U, determine the sound, make the sound of every word in English. Okay, so for your information, I have said spelling doesn't determine. Like if I say PSYCHOLOGY, psychology, we cannot call it, we cannot pronounce or read as P psychology, because we know P is silent here. There is no logic wife is silent. Like another word, I can say knife. Knife, I cannot say knife. K is silent. There are some words in English, we know them well, where some letters are silent. We keep it in mind. We remember accordingly we sound, pronounce those words. Next thing is that pronunciation. To speak English well, to have good pronunciation, to master pronunciation, we need to practice rigorously, consistently, regularly, with passion. See, it's not a thing to master, it's not a thing to learn within a few days. It takes time, it takes its own time. It, it wants you to put your commitment, your practice. That is why I encourage my students, learning a language cannot be done overnight. It cannot be done overnight. It takes time. So you have to be passionate. You have to have passions till you learn it. And you have to put practice. I have been asked by a teacher, I've been asked, and he asked me a question that when I speak English, there are people who laugh at me. They think that I'm showing off my knowledge. Knowing language doesn't mean that you are showing off your knowledge. It's just language. It's a means of communication. If you have idea about English on English language, it doesn't mean that you're showing off or you are knowledgeable, but I can say you have a skill. In this era, in 21st era, knowing English is to have skill. And if you have skill, you can be marketable. You can be employable in different sectors, maybe private or public. Pronunciation. Now, I would say about accent. What is the difference between pronunciation and accent? Pronunciation is to speak a word correctly, is to pronounce a word correctly as per international phonetic alphabet or as per phonetics, but accent is different from pronunciation. It's bit interrelated, but it's bit different as well. Pronunciation is all about how to make the exact sound of a word when we speak, when we utter. However, accent is different. We don't have accent. Native people have accent. They speak English with different accents. Like when we look at the American people, they speak with their own accent, American accent. When we look at the Britishers, the English, the people of England, they speak with their own accent, that is British accent. We can know different accents. Mainly, there are two accents, such as American accent and British accent. Either one can prefer to speak or learn American accent, or one can go for British accent. Accent means it can be defined like accents. Accent is the way one speaks a language, the way one speaks or expresses. Like American people speak a word differently than the British people. British people speak, they have different way of speaking English than the American people. That is called accent. Okay, so I said you about phonetics. I told you about pronunciation and accent. Let me repeat. Phonetics is the theory. It consists of all the theories. It contains 41 sounds of English. It contains articulation. It has all phonemic chart. It has all 44 sounds. And every phonetic symbol represents a sound in English that you have to remember. And you don't have to remember only, you have to practice. You have to put that in practice. Okay? But before you practice, before you speak it up, you need to know its proper or exact articulation. That makes more sense. That is very vital here. We need to have the proper articulation of each and every sound that we are going to learn in phonetics. Okay? Okay, just a second. So perhaps you could understand what I said about phonetics, pronunciation, and the third thing, accent. And let me tell you here, when we speak a word, we need the flexibility. Yeah, maybe some background noise. Now, am I audible clearly? Nimais,
Yeah, you are.
Delphine, can you hear?
Yeah, you are audible.
Am I audible? Yes. You are clearly audible. Yeah, let me tell you one very good point, a very common point when we speak or pronounce a word in English. I'm not going to talk about any other language. As we are learning English, we have to focus on it. You need the flexibility of mouth. I often say, advise, or instruct during my teaching, and when I teach phonetics, this topic, you have to look at your mouth. When I look at the mouth of native speakers, does you pronounce English well? Does you speak well? You can see the flexibility of mouth. All right, you can see the flexibility of mouth. I'm going to share another pic where you can see we have different organs on our head. Okay, this portion from this throat to nose, there are certain organs which help to produce sound in English, in any language. And why did I say you to observe the flexibility or the movement of different organs? When you watch any native speaker of English, you can see they, you can see the movement of their inner tongue and lips. They have more flexibility than us. That's why their accent, their pronunciation is different. We may not speak like them. We can speak, but it needs long time practice. It needs constant practice. Like when you look at their faces, they have different shapes when they speak different words in English. Like when they utter the word wow, you know, when they say, oh my God, they'll open their mouth. Oh my God, wow, they'll open their mouth. Oh shit, you can see different, facial expression, different gesture on their face. And the movement of lips, upper and lower, movement of tongue, teeth, and the sound which comes from our throat, this this portion, throat. All these organs are responsible. All these organs play very important role to make sound, to pronounce a word correctly. So we have to watch our tongue, teeth, and lips. And also we have another organ called nose. There are some sounds I'm going to say in details which are produced in our nostrils. It means there are some nasalized sounds. When we say ma, nanga, three sounds are there in English. You can feel vibration in your nostrils, in your nose, like ma, na, and ga. These three sounds. When we speak, we can feel some vibration in our nose. We have two nostrils. We inhale and exhale, right? Air. So why did I say it? Because these things help us to speak or make sound or pronounce a word correctly in English. And it's very, very important. The flexibility of mouth, flexibility of tongue and teeth. I'm not going to touch vowel sounds, diphthongs, and consonant sound now. Just I'm telling you, these are the organs. Let me show you. Yeah, you can see on your you can see now on your screen. Is it visible to everybody?
It is clearly visible to us. Okay.
Okay, organ of speech and their functions. Organs of speech and their functions. This picture, let me zoom it. There are different biological names, but biological terms you can see on your screen. We have a picture of, from our forehead to throat, forehead to throat. Alveolar ridge, lips, teeth. Then we have tongue, nasal cavity. We have nose, as I said before a few minutes. Palate, we have hard palate and soft palate. Palate means the upper upper portion closed just above the tongue. The hard area is called hard palate. Inner side we have soft palate. In a mouth you can insert your finger and you can feel it. Then oral cavity. This tongue area is called oral cavity. Then we have velum. Then pharynx. We have one that pipe close to our mouth and it is connected to our lungs. It goes to our stomach. Pharynx. We have throat, pharynx, then epiglottis. Okay, we have epiglottis. This is the low portion of our throat, this pipe. We can feel it. When we touch our throat, we can feel the vibration. Okay, the larynx. We have pharynx and larynx. Vocal cords. Our throat, this very thick area, we can touch with our fingers, larynx, that is called vocal cords. When we say there is a vibration. We can feel the vibration when touch our throat. So throat, normally I can say, I'm not going to tell you in details about all these things, but remember, throat, nose, lips, teeth, tongue. Throat, nose, lips, teeth, tongue. These are the things, these are the organs which help to produce sound in English. Alright? So, I'll go later in details. We have just a minute. We have Kamini Hans from Fulbani. She's a student of English literature. We have Dalphin from the Central University of Punjab. We have Nimai Bhoi, sir, from Central School Sundargarh. And we have Ambika from Fulbani. Okay, Dalphin, did you get some points? Would you like to say? And Nimai sir also.
Just a minute, I'm coming back to, there is an important call, so I'll coming back.
Okay, all right. Nimai Bhoi?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please say something.